At this point, it's been kind of a long time since I've said anything about Sinbad or the Shazaam Mandela Effect thing, but still, every single day I get tons of comments on my old videos on that topic. For the most part, it's the same old things that have already been addressed, or it's people posting the same old VHS covers, photoshopped posters, all that bullshit. But every once in a while, a person comes through with this one theory that I actually never got to address. And it bothers me because it's as silly as I think the Mandela Effect is, this theory is even dumber. The theory that these people have is that the Mandela Effect isn't true, however, Shazaam did exist, and the reason why we don't have it is because Sinbad was just so embarrassed by this movie that he went and had every mention of it erased from history. He somehow got to people's houses and destroyed their copies of the movie. Sinbad is just such a rich and powerful man that he can delete things from existence because he was a little embarrassed by them. This is such a monumentally stupid approach to the topic that I can't even think of where to begin. For starters, when a guy does a movie like this, do you think that they think they're going into this making fucking Citizen Kane or something? That of all the movies that Sinbad does, Shazaam is gonna be his crowning jewel in his filmography? No, guys do movies like this because it's a fucking payday. Kids' movies do well. What is it about this movie specifically that would just be so embarrassing that he has to go through extraordinary lengths perhaps never done by anybody else in the fucking world, and succeed at fucking erasing this from history? The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, is probably one of the biggest movie stars out right now, yet you can still go on Amazon and get yourself a copy of the fucking Tooth Fairy. Do you think The Rock went out and thought the Tooth Fairy, that's gonna be my fucking masterpiece? No, he made it. He made some money, he grew his audience a little bit because a lot of kids go to see movies like that, and as much as you as an adult might not like them, kids have fond memories of these kinds of things. But it actually is a pretty common thing for a person if they have something embarrassing in their history, something that can kind of prevent them from getting work. There are services that allow you to kind of hide things from the internet. There's actually a really good book that I read that it touches on the topic of wanting to delete embarrassing things from the internet. It's called So You've Been Publicly Shamed, and it goes into a lot of people who they misspoke on Twitter and had it ruin their fucking careers. I'm actually going to put a link to that book in the description because it's probably one of the best books that I've read in the past few years, and anyone who's on the internet, they should probably have some idea of what goes on. For these people, there are services that will do everything they can to push the bad results really, really far back in Google and push positive results up. They're extremely expensive though. I mean, probably Sinbad at his peak, he probably could have afforded a service like that. But they're very expensive, and all they really do is they push bad Google results so back that you would have to be crazy to go that deep into someone's history. Although I imagine that the kinds of people who are obsessed with finding this Genie movie, who knows how many pages deep they've gone in Google searches to find anything. I'm sure that they wouldn't be deterred by such a service in the way that, say, a potential employer might be. But let's say, hypothetically, say he did pay for some kind of service that would delete Shazaam from the internet. Let's say that's within his means and something he wanted to do. How is it that all these people that claim that they've owned the copy at some point, they watched it every single day, how is it that Sinbad managed to go to all their homes or hire someone to go to all their homes and steal their copies from under their noses like he was the fucking Grinch or something? And a lot of people will say, oh well, that movie wasn't that popular, so there wouldn't be that many copies for Sinbad to track down and destroy, but even if there were only a small amount of copies sold, it would still be quite an endeavor to track down who actually has these copies. Say a kid bought Shazaam, but then he loaned it to his friend, who loaned it to another friend, and fucking lost it somewhere. Okay, so how are you going to track that copy down to destroy it? Say you have the sales information so you can just find the house of everybody who bought a copy. What if some random kid stole it from a fucking Caldor or some shit? You're never going to find a copy of Shazaam. That would take such a staggering amount of manpower and money that I don't think anybody could afford to. I don't think Bill Gates, if he had something in your home that he wanted to get rid of, I don't think he could do that. But I guess people really do think Sinbad has actual magic genie powers, or maybe because he's been on TV, he's just wealthy beyond anybody's imagination. I think the people who dive so headfirst into these kinds of theories, I think they're perhaps so far removed from any kind of success in their life that they think that anybody who has achieved anything is just actually fucking magical. And not only would Sinbad have to have such financial prowess and be so strongly connected that he can make all of these things fucking happen, he would have to be able to achieve that with tons of wiggle room, because this is such a massive endeavor that it would stretch anybody's resources. If there is a person on the fucking world that has that kind of resources, it would stretch that to its fucking brink. So he would have to have that and then some. On all for what? Because he was just embarrassed by doing a shitty kids movie? Like, how detached from reality do you have to be to think that an actor doing a kids movie, an actor who's known for, at that time at least, for having relatively family-friendly comedy, he was doing shows like All That and whatnot at the time, that a kids movie would fucking ruin him, end his fucking career, that he had to have it erased out of existence. People deal with fucking embarrassing shit all the fucking time. People much more wealthy and connected than Sinbad have embarrassing shit happen for us all to fucking see. All kinds of faux pas and whatnot, and they just let it happen, because at the end of the day, this kind of shit, it's not that big of a fucking deal. It doesn't ruin you. Mark Zuckerberg fucking runs Facebook. He can make anything on that fucking social network disappear if he wanted to. And all day long, it's full of fucking embarrassing memes, people talking shit about him, and meanwhile, the kind of content that he decides to censor is a fucking duck with fire behind its fucking head. The funny thing is, after all this shit talking going on for months and months and months, I feel like this is a topic that myself and the people who believe in the Mandela Effect can actually agree on, because as much as you can say how other ideas are more plausible than the Mandela Effect, because it exists outside the natural world, it's impossible to fully disprove it. Like, if this rubber duck is our universe, the natural world, everything that's a part of our reality, then you have the Mandela Effect universe. It exists out here. They don't touch, so we can't go there and see if this is true or not. Which, honestly, that kind of thing, that's why we put the burden of proof on the people making the outrageous claim. But when it comes to the idea that Sinbad went and erased everything from history, we can just kind of look at the logistics of actually doing such a thing and say that's a completely outrageous fucking claim. Anyway, until next time, everybody, get fucked.